to the Beyond the Business podcast with your host, Corey Bauman.
Laurie Landis is with us today. She is a Mary Kay business owner, and so I want you to tell us a little bit about Mary Kay. Tell us about your kind of your story, how you got to be an entrepreneur and a business owner, and let's just chat. Let's just share your story and see if we can impact some people today.
All right, great. Well, thanks for inviting me to talk with you. And this is, I'm part of my story is getting out of what I've done to get out of my comfort zone, and this is one of them. So
Good.
Anyway, I went to college for art and design and became a graphic designer and did that. Was in that business for 10 years. I worked for a small agency, and then when I got married, my husband was a college football coach, and so.
What team?
What team? Bloomsburg University.
Okay. Yep. Bloomsburg. No.
And then Bucknell University, and then several other schools after that. So there was a lot of moving involved. And so at the time, I'd started my own business when we were in Lewisburg at Bucknell, and teamed up with a copywriter, and we created our own company. And I did the graphic design, and she did obviously copywriting and other things. So we had a pretty successful small business. It was we kind of fit a niche that for companies that couldn't afford a large advertising agency but needed more than what they could do. They wanted some professional advertising, but just couldn't maybe afford a large agency. So we were very busy and did very well. Both working from our homes, and then my husband took another job, and we moved. So I started freelancing. We had our son at that time, and I just wanted to be home with him, and so I was freelancing and picking up work similar to what I'd been doing with my own business, and then moved again, and each time I had to start over. Like just dissolve what I was doing and start over. So we were living in Connecticut at the time that I was introduced to Mary Kay as a business opportunity. And I had been introduced to the products about a year before. My college roommate had gathered a bunch of us and said, I'm having a Mary Kay party, come on over. And so I tried the products and fell in love with the products. And so by the time I was living in Connecticut, I had lost my consultant. Right now we have a fabulous website that, I've got customers all over the country and they can just go online and purchase their products, but we didn't have that at that time. So I looked up a Mary Kay consultant and she invited me to an event, and I just was really impressed by the women that were in this business, just big thinking, positive, supportive. And with my graphic design business, I didn't have that. I was, it was just me, myself, and I. Yep. So I really was attracted to the network and the support and training and everything that came with Mary Kay. So and obviously I believed in the product. So I thought this will be a fun little supplement to my graphic design business, and get a great way to get out and meet other women. I was home with a 4.5-year-old, and as much as I wanted to be there, I needed to get out. So anyway, it just kind of developed from there. I ended up having more fun with this business, and figured I'll do art for myself and use this as a way to, because we did move several times. I started my business in Connecticut and started over in 4 other places. So I'd say that I did, started my business in 5 different locations. And but the cool thing about it was that the way Mary Kay is structured, we don't have territories. So I was able to build on what I'd already established in all the other places and keep those relationships and the benefits of those relationships. And then as time went by, this became more of a full-time career for me. I started to move up into more of a leadership position. I'm a sales director and have been for the past, I'd say, well, I've been in this business for 25 years. And so the majority of it, I'd say about 20 years, I've been a sales director. And and that role is just helping to mentor and train other women, other consultants to be successful in their business at whatever level they choose. So the other thing that I really liked about it was that wherever I moved, there was an automatic family, of consultants and directors, and that I could just be a part of and learn from and benefit from their events and things that were happening locally. So
the moving piece, that's what kind of stands out for me too, because you know how hard it is to start a business once, right? But then obviously you have a system built like when you start it the first time.
Right.
My question to you actually was going to be, so from moving around, like, what do you think the one thing was that, like, if there was one thing that helped you really start the business up again? I know you had existing clients, but of course you're in a new area, networking, doing all that stuff. Like, what's the one thing that you found was the key to kind of getting it launched again in a new area?
Well, like you said, we do have a system of networking. Whether you're in the same place for 20 years or you're moving around, I kind of did the same things. But networking outside of Mary Kay obviously was, getting involved in the community. When my son was in school, that just gave me, I was very involved with his school activities and being part of that. So I'd say it was just getting out into the community, because luckily for me, I'm not in a store where I have to wait for customers to come in. I can meet people anywhere, and they can become potential clients. And so I think it was developing those skills because the other thing is this whole business was out of my comfort zone in terms of I'm more of an introvert, so walking up and talking to people I didn't know and that kind of thing was something that I knew I had to do and just did it. And but the other thing is that it's as time went by and each new place I went, I realized that strangers are just friends you haven't met yet. So yeah. But I did every place I moved, I tried to find a networking group or of other business people, because those are kind of the women that I wanted to meet and clients that I'd liked, that I was looking for. So I did try to do that. I was the president of the we had a Montgomery County. I lived in the Collegeville area for a number of years, and I was a part of that group. But it was a monthly meeting. It was just you'd see people once a month, and like a lunch, and it was usually listening to a speaker. We weren't really talking too much to each other. We did get to talk about our businesses a little bit, but so that was a part of it too.
I think one of the things too is a lot of business owners, like when they start businesses, that's one of the things that's not, I don't think it's like a natural, I mean, there is definitely natural people out there that don't mind going to knock on doors. Like when I was in real estate, like I always, like I would try to make it fun. Like you go with other people and stuff like that. And I know you're not talking about knocking doors, but like just in that aspect of getting out and being face to face and being vulnerable, like that's just not a natural thing. And I think now too, like, people start businesses. I'll use my wife as an example. She has a photography business, and with the way Facebook is and the way social media is right now, she literally didn't have to get out and network at all, because she was able to show folks what she was doing on Facebook and connect, get referrals that way. Yeah. But I think that aspect of getting face to face, being in a networking group, going to cold call, visit other businesses, there's all kinds of different, like that's never going to go away. We know that. I mean, you know that. Right. And social media should exist. I get it. It's a piece, but I don't know. I just personally don't believe that you can build a long-lasting business, sustainable, like extensive business without having those face-to-face relationships, just in my opinion. But
right. Well, and and that's the whole with social media, a lot, it's has changed some aspects of our business with Mary Kay. But the one thing that the company and the leadership in our company that are women who were trained by Mary Kay herself have said that we can't get away from the kitchen table. Like our business is built on those face-to-face encounters. And so we don't just give someone a sample and say, go online and order it, and or here's a book. Those are all things that we can do, but our business is really based on meeting people, sitting down across the table, and I think the other thing that attracted me to this too is that I consider I'm not the sales type, which, and I hear a lot of that, and but it's really it is a relationship building business. We're not into just a one time, I just want to sell you something, or I just want to sell you the most. It's about helping people find solutions to their issues or problems, and with skincare or cosmetics, or in just in terms of the leadership role that I have in mentoring other women is just changing their lives. I mean, literally changing their lives, making that extra income that they need or want. Or I can't put a price on the value of being at home with my son and being able to go to his games in the afternoon and being able to stay home with him when he was sick without having to ask for someone's permission. Those kinds of things that for me were important. And if for whatever reason somebody wants to have that flexibility or the freedom to work their job around their life rather than their life around their job, that's something that is still a face-to-face thing. It's those building those relationships and people trusting you and knowing that they can count on you. And I don't know, I think the other things can draw people into that, but as far as social media, but not take the place of it.
Sure. And I think too, obviously being in the network marketing realm, in that industry, I think that industry has taken full advantage, but then also it's handcuffed a lot of folks with the social media aspect of it, right? And you see so much out there. And my wife is part of a network marketing company also, and one of the things that I've always encouraged her is, if you're obviously you're growing a team, you're doing these things, but don't just add somebody to your team, coach them, meet with them, have engagement, and really make sure they're treating it like a business too, and that kind of thing. And I think I know you've done that, right? You've been in business long enough, and you said you're mentoring other folks, and so you take that to heart. And I just wish more folks, in that realm, because quite honestly, I mean, sometimes you do hear it's kind of like real estate agents, they get a bad name for things that we're talking about right now, for not doing those things, for not meeting somebody face to face, not really taking the time to treat it as more than just a product. It's a relationship ongoing. And I think you can tell your story too. I do think you can tell a story on social media, but there is nothing like sitting down with somebody and you telling them your story face to face, really getting that impact. And that's where I think a lot of the network marketing world is missing the boat.
Yeah. And I think, Mary Kay is, has been around for 55 years. And, like you said, over technology has advanced, and, social media is a big part of all of our lives, but it's still there's still things about it that just haven't changed since 1963, so, and I think, and I'm really proud of this company because they get it. They understand that it is, it's about the relationships, and they always bring us back to that because, everybody gets excited about the new toy or the new way of doing something. And to be honest, it's a lot easier to send out to text somebody instead of call them. It's a lot easier to post something than to make that personal. So I do really encourage my team members to, that yes, those things are supplemental, but if you really want to build a strong business, you just have to step out of your comfort zone. And and the thing is that the more you do anything, the more comfortable you're going to become with it. Yeah. And, so for me to talk to someone that I didn't know and be worried about the rejection or whatever, and be like, what, I'm still in one piece. They said no, and I survived. And I think the person you become through going through those things that scare you is just, that's what it's all about. It's the personal growth. And I don't think we can do that if we aren't out interacting with people face to face and handling whatever comes our way, and knowing that we can.
And plus, and this is something I'm sure you know too, is the more you get out there and get face to face with people, the more you enjoy kind of what you're doing, and the more you enjoy your clients that you're working with, because you're truly getting to meet them, right? Like you're building relationships and talking about each other's kids and all this kind of stuff. Like that's all important. Maybe touch a little bit on, so like you talked about networking, and obviously, you're a Master Networks member. You've been one for quite some time now, and maybe just touch a little bit on how Master Networks, that experience with Master Networks, how has that really helped kind of build those relationships, that kind of thing? What has that done for you?
Well, part of what attracted me to it and I'm trying to remember even how I heard about it. Tina Falshock.
Yes.
Told me about it. But I, like I said, I've always looked for networking ways to get out into the community. But what attracted me to this was the weekly meetings. And when I went and saw the interaction and the personal relationships that, people started to know each other. And obviously, the more I went, each week that I went, I got to know people better. And it's different than any other networking experience I've had because of that, because of those personal relationships you're actually creating. And what's come from it is friendships and like, a family. And, at first I thought, I don't need the training because, I've got tons of training for 55 years of experience, and leaders ahead of me that, in my business. But I really wanted to get the outside perspective, outside looking in, and obviously the training's different than what I get through my Mary Kay business. I mean, obviously there's some overlap, but it does have a different perspective. And the other part of it is the discussions that it creates among the people at the meeting. So it's not just what we're the great tidbits we're getting, but it's also the way we discuss it and what we learn through those conversations. So that's one of the things that's been great about it, that I've gained from it. But the other thing too was that one of the big things was for me to have to stand up and talk about my business for 30 seconds, just needing to build that confidence. And because that's not something that I was really feeling,
Sure.
really, really confident in. So that was something that I was looking forward to. But I had actually one of the mortgage lenders in our group helped me with the refinance of my home, and I trust him completely. I would recommend him to anybody, and that was Clint Baum, and he, just because I got to know him, see him every week, and then the other cool thing was that my parents were selling their home, and just in the relationship I had with Jody Pendolino, I said, we're having some trouble with, they're not getting any bites. So I showed her the house, and she told me to rearrange the pictures. She said, they're asking for too much. This is what you should ask for. I told my mother, and within a week they had a buyer. Yeah. So, and Jody didn't get anything out of that, other than satisfaction, I guess, and knowing that she helped. But it's, and there's lots of other little side conversations and things that have come from those relationships.
I think Jody's on the call too. So, hey, Jody, or at least it looked like she was watching.
Oh,
so. Perfect timing.
Yeah.
Well, that's just it too. Like you nailed it. I mean, I think one of the things we try, like when people ask us, well, why would I join Master Networks? What's it different? I think that is like what you just said, is it's not always about you doing direct business with somebody else. It's about what connections can you make, or who can somebody, you know what I mean? Who you connect with somebody else that's gonna help you, maybe not with your business, with somebody else. Like it's going deep and looking for a need and developing whatever opportunity that is. Maybe it's not business directly right away. So
yeah. So yeah, it's and I think like I said, the friendships that we've built, are really significant. And I don't know that if we didn't see each other weekly and didn't have those tidbits and to talk about,
yes,
that we would really all get to know each other as well. So it is a really unique type of environment. Yeah. And, in an hour. So,
Yeah, the interesting thing is, so we polled, we did a survey monkey to all of our members last year. I don't remember exactly when it was, but we asked them just two simple questions. Why did you join Master Networks? And then why did you stay? And then we had, a couple different answers, or a couple different choices. And most of the people, the majority of the people joined because they were looking for a referral. And the number one reason, it was like 68% of people that joined or that stayed was for the relationship. So they joined for the referral and stayed for the relationship piece of it.
Yeah.
And actually, the interesting thing is we were curious to see the training piece, because we do talk about that, and that's a huge value. I mean, there's no doubt it's a huge value. But it was the same percentage of people joined for the training that stayed for the training. It was like 7% or something like that. Like it wasn't as much as you would think it would be. And it just goes to show you that that's why people are part of these groups. And then we talk about all the time, like we want to build a community that people look at Master Networks and they go, I need to be part of that community because they are well connected. They rely on each other for everything, not just business.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have definitely found that with our group. And then also, I mean, I know some of the chapters have, we've had some changes and stuff, but we've also done things to connect beyond our chapter. And so I think, it is kind of exciting to know that, when I've talked to people about joining this thing, it's a national group. So that we could start connecting with people beyond our area too.
For sure.
So,
sure. That's the goal. That's the goal. And that's why, that's one of the reasons we're working on a new, like completely new technology right now, so that we can make it easier for people to do that rather than, it being clunky. And we don't want any barriers there. We want you to be able to connect with whoever you want to around the country. So we're excited. But
well, it does remind me of Mary Kay in that, I feel if I meet someone I meet women from all over the world who are in my business. And, but I've heard so many stories of somebody, their kid's car broke down and they were in California. And so they called a director in California and she went over and picked him up and took him to her house, so, it's just that family, big network of people who, you can trust and connect with. And, so it kind of, there's some parts of Master Network that really feel familiar to me because they remind me of the Mary Kay connections.
Yep. It makes sense. I mean, it's that culture, it's that feel, that experience you get. And I mean, do you know roughly how many people are part of Mary Kay? Do you have any idea?
3.5.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm just curious.
3.5 million consultants around the world in close to 40 countries.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So when we have our conference in Dallas, they come from all over the world. And I remember being at the airport with women from China, and we couldn't understand a word each other was saying, but somehow we understood each other. It was just feeling that connection with people from around all over the world is really, really cool.
I love that. Yeah. And it's proof that it can happen if you build the right culture, and you have to have great products, which you guys do. I mean, obviously you're right in our backyard here. So I know quite a few Mary Kay folks, and actually we just joined our chapter in Texas. So, it's a great company. The training is wonderful. You guys have great events. In fact, I met the gentleman that runs all of your video production commercials and things like that. I met him actually at church. So he's a really cool guy. And so he helps out with our church a little bit up here in North Texas. But it's quite a production. I know that it's I'm sure it's exciting when you come out and visit.
Yes, well, and you probably noticed like the buildings are all become pink, and there's pink Cadillacs everywhere. We kind of, I think there's 10,000 of us that come into Dallas every summer. So
I love it. Yeah, it's
every restaurant you go into.
I remember last year it was actually, you guys had your convention pretty close to where our office is here for Master Networks. It was right up the street actually in Frisco, right? I think, or I'm mistaken.
I know they do have some other. I mean, obviously there's a lot of Mary Kay directors and national sales directors in that area. So sometimes they have national sales director meetings that aren't for the whole, what do I say? The all of us.
The whole
It's,
company.
it's just,
Well, there was a
yeah,
lot
so,
of Cadillacs there, nonetheless.
Yeah. Then they were directors or national sales directors.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna let's see, stick to our time here a little bit.
Okay.
Your time too. Anything else that you want to share with anybody that you feel would be useful as far as maybe a business experience or anything? If not, that's fine too. But I figured I would.
Oh, okay. I don't know that anything. I think the theme of what we said was just making those connections,
Yeah.
And personal face-to-face connections, and like you said, it is a much richer, it's much more enjoyable and much richer when you're working with people and getting to know them.
Yeah,
And
sure.
helping meet needs that way. So
It'll never go away. So
no, that's right.
If you're in network marketing, if you're not in network marketing, it doesn't matter what your business is. You got to get out there and you got to talk to people and you got to meet people and you've got to get out of your comfort zone. That's the one thing. That's the theme really for you that I heard you say throughout the call is get out of your comfort zone. And the more you do things, the more you build a habit, the easier it gets. And being an introvert, you'd be surprised how many people are introverts. I'm the type of person too, like I can get out there and I can network in a crowd and I can speak, I can train, I can be in large groups, but I'm also the type of person that like, if I'm traveling and I get into a hotel room and close the door, I need that time too. And I love that. So you got to be able to do both, I think, right? To be able to run a business.
Yep.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you just sharing your story and being vulnerable with us. And I appreciate being a secretary in your chapter there in Hershey, and I appreciate just everything you're doing to impact not only the members there in the chapter, but the business community, because I think sometimes we forget that everything we're doing in our Master Networks chapters trickles out into the community and affects the economy and all those other things too. So I appreciate everything you're doing.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. And I appreciate you giving me another chance to come out of my comfort zone.